Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Inflation is eating your pension. The cost of eggs is up, gas is up, and looking at the price tags in the gun store display case feels like a punch in the gut. There is this elitist attitude in the tactical community that says, if you aren't spending $1,000 on a Smith & Wesson Performance Center or a Colt Python, you might as well carry a rock. That is absolute garbage. A burglar breaking into your house at 3 a.m. does not care how polished the bluing is on your barrel. They only care about one thing. Is there a piece of hot lead moving towards them at 1,000 feet per second? Today, we are digging through the bargain bin. I have tested these. I have abused these. We are looking at 5 revolvers that come in under the $350 mark. Sometimes well under. Are they pretty? No. Are they smooth like butter? Absolutely not. But will they go bang when your life depends on it? That is the only question we are answering today. We are ranking these from the just for practice, plinker, up to the undisputed heavyweight champion of budget defense. Let's get to work. We start at number 5 with a gun that currently costs less than filling up the gas tank on a pickup truck. The Heritage Rough Rider in .22 long rifle. You can often find these on sale for under $150. That price point makes people suspicious. They think it's made of pot metal and hope. But here is the truth. It works. It is a single-action revolver, meaning you have to cock the hammer manually for every single shot. Think of old Western movies. Click, bang. Click, bang. It forces you to slow down. For a senior on a fixed income who just needs something to handle pests in the garden, snakes, rats, maybe a coyote if you are lucky, this is the tool. It is essentially a farm tool. I was teaching a neighbor's kid to shoot last summer. We used this because there is zero recoil. It is physically impossible to accidental discharge if the hammer is down. But we have to be brutally honest about self-defense. This is not a fighting gun. Reloading this thing takes an eternity. You have to open the loading gate and punch the empty shells out one by one. If you are trying to do that while someone is kicking down your front door, you are going to have a very bad night. It sits at number 5 because while it is the cheapest way to pull a trigger, the single-action mechanism makes it too slow for a chaotic defensive situation unless you are literally out of options. Number 4 is the Rock Island Armory M206. If the Heritage was a farm tool, this is a tire iron. It is arguably the ugliest handgun currently in production. The finish isn't a nice, deep bluing. It's a rough, gray, parkerized coating that feels like a chalkboard. It looks like something that was built in a Soviet tank factory during a power outage. But here is the thing. You can pick this up brand new for about $250. That is insane value for a 6-shot .38 special revolver. Because it is made of solid steel, it is heavy, and in this specific case, heavy is good. That weight soaks up the recoil of defensive ammo. You fire a standard pressure round through this, and it feels like a gentle shove. I keep one of these in my tackle box. Literally. It gets tossed around with pliers, hooks, and sinkers. It gets covered in lake water and grime. Last month, I pulled it out just to see if the cylinder would still spin. It was gritty. It sounded like grinding coffee. But when I pulled the trigger, 6 shots, 6 bangs. No hesitation. However, you have to accept the budget penalty. The wood grips that come with it are chunky and uncomfortable. They feel like holding a 2x4 piece of lumber. And the sights? They are barely there. Just a notch cut into the top of the metal. You aren't winning any marksmanship competitions with this. It sits at number 4 because, while it brings legitimate .38 special power to the table, The ergonomics are non-existent. You are fighting the gun to get a good grip, and that matters when your hands are sweaty or shaking. Number 3 is the comeback kid of the industry, the Taurus 856. 10 years ago, I would have told you to use a Taurus as a paperweight, not a life-saving device. Their quality control was a disaster. But you have to give credit where it's due. They fired the old management, retooled the factory, and actually started listening. The 856 is the result. You can find the standard matte black model hovering right around that $320 mark. Here is the killer feature that puts it above the others we've talked about. Mathematics. Almost every snub-nose revolver in this size category holds 5 rounds. The 856 holds 6. That is 20% more firepower in a package that is the same size as a standard 5-shooter. One extra round might not sound like a lot sitting here, but when you are counting shots in a panic, it is everything. I took a die-hard Smith & Wesson fan, a total brand snob, to the range with this gun. He looked at it like it was a contagious disease. He loaded it, fired 6 rounds, dumped the empties, and fired 6 more. He turned to me and said, "I hate how much I like this." The rubber grip they put on this factory model is actually designed for human hands, unlike the lumber on the Rock Island. It absorbs the snap, but we have to be real about the budget penalty. The trigger. It is heavy. We are talking about a long, deliberate pull that feels a bit like dragging a sack of concrete across a driveway. It isn't smooth glass like a $1,000 Python. You have to intentionally practice staging that trigger, or you will pull your shots low and left. It sits at number 3 because it gives you that crucial 6th round and decent ergonomics. But the heavy trigger pull means you have to work harder to be accurate. We are down to the runner-up, the Charter Arms Undercover .38 Special. If the Taurus is the comeback kid, Charter Arms is the old, grumpy guy at the bar who has seen it all and doesn't care what you think of him. This is distinct for one massive reason that matters to a lot of you watching this. It is 100% American-made. For a gun that you can often find right around that $330 mark, that is unheard of. Most budget guns are imported from the Philippines, Brazil, or Turkey. This comes out of the Naugatuck Valley in Connecticut. The design hasn't changed much since the 1960s because it didn't need to. It uses a one-piece frame design that is incredibly lightweight. We are talking about 16 ounces. For a senior with a bad hip or a bad back, carrying a heavy chunk of steel all day is a non-starter. You end up leaving it in the drawer. You can slip this into a coat pocket and forget it's there until you need it. I knew a retired detective who carried a Colt Python on duty for 30 years. Beautiful gun. But when he retired, he bought one of these. He told me, "Jeff, I'm done lugging around 3 pounds of steel. I just want something that works." The undercover is snappy because it's light, but it points naturally. It feels like an extension of your index finger. But here is the budget penalty and the reality check. Refinement. When you shake a Charter Arms, it rattles a little bit. The cylinder release latch feels a bit loose compared to a Smith & Wesson. It doesn't have that bank vault, tight lockup feel. It feels like a tool made in a machine shop, not a piece of jewelry. And because it is so light, when you put Defensive Plus P ammo in this, it is going to bark at you. It will sting the palm of your hand. It sits at number 2 because it offers American-made reliability and effortless carry capability at a price point where most competitors are selling you heavy imported bricks. And here we are at number 1, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the budget world, the EAA Windicator. If the Charter Arms is a lightweight fighter, this is a German tank parked in your living room. You can find these brand new for right around $300. sometimes less. And for that money, you are getting something that feels illegal. It is built by Weihrauch in Germany. These are the same people who make high-end air rifles that cost more than most actual guns. They know how to machine metal. The Windicator is massive, it is blocky, it is heavy, and that is exactly why it wins. It is chambered for .357 Magnum. Now, listen to me closely. Do not shoot .357 Magnum out of this if you have arthritis. It will hurt. But because it is built to handle that explosion, when you load it with standard .38 Special Defense rounds, the gun just laughs. The recoil is non-existent. The weight of the steel frame absorbs everything. It feels like shooting a cap gun. For a senior citizen who wants a dedicated nightstand gun, something that sits in a drawer and never moves until the worst day of your life, this is the answer. You don't need to carry it. You don't need to conceal it. You just need it to be an anchor. It holds 6 rounds. It has a rubber grip that actually fits a human hand. And unlike the others on this list, it feels solid. There is no rattle, no shake. The cylinder locks up tight. I have a buddy who calls this his garage gun. He has abused it for 5 years. He treats it like a wrench. He has never cleaned it. Not once. We took it to the range last week. He pulled the trigger, and it banged steel at 15 yards without a hiccup. It sits at number 1 because it delivers German engineering and heavy-duty reliability for the price of a grocery run. It is the best value for money in the revolver world, period. Let's wrap this up. There is a difference between cheap and garbage. Garbage is a gun that breaks when you need it. Cheap is just a gun that lacks a pretty finish. The 5 revolvers we looked at today aren't going to win beauty contests. They aren't smooth, and they aren't refined. But they all do the one thing that actually matters. They turn money into noise and impact when you pull the trigger. If you are on a fixed income, don't let the snobs tell you that you can't defend your home. Buy what you can afford. Buy a box of ammo. And go practice. A $300 gun in the hands of someone who trains is infinitely deadlier than a $3,000 Safe Queen that never gets fired. I want to hear from the old-school crowd in the comments. What was the cheapest gun you ever bought that turned out to be a tank? Did you ever buy a Saturday night special that surprised you? Let me know down below. Stay safe. Watch your wallet. I'll see you in the next one.